Issues. This is Dave Arnold, your host of Cooking Issues, coming to you live from the heart of Manhattan and Rockefeller Center, New York City, Newsstand Studios. Doing as usual with John. How you doing, John?
Doing all right, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? On a Friday, not on a normal day.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah.
And doesn't even have his computer with him, so he's sitting here like basically naked. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, you know, in the Bible, there's Adam and Eve, and they have the laptop across their genitals after they eat the apple.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. No, I have to listen to you the whole episode.
I know.
No distractions,
Can't buy, you know, nothing to shop for.
Yeah.
No Discord to go on.
Discord to go on, yeah.
Yeah. Tragedy. And rocking the panels, Joe Hazen.
Hey, good to see everyone on a Friday.
Yeah, how you doing? What's your normal feeling? What day of what is Friday your Friday?
Friday's my Friday, yeah.
Oh.
I do occasionally work on Saturdays from like by 12 to 4, 12 to 5. Mm-hmm. But trying to keep it chill with the family on the weekends.
Yeah.
Got a lot of cooking to do tonight for the kid.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, it's the allergy diet for the week.
Oh, so you do the whole week and then you...
Basically, yeah, and we use the freezers packed.
Yeah. So, Nastasia and I are trying to figure out... Oh, Nastasia and Hammer Lopez back in Connecticut. How you doing, Stas?
Good.
Yeah. So, Nastasia and I, for years, have been trying to figure out some sort of something where we can convince people that a Spinzall is a good thing to have for baby food. But I have to convince myself first. Or I just need to find someone else who is convinced and just let them talk. Right, Stas?
Yeah. I think the harder part is you convincing you.
Yeah, but I don't care. Like, I don't need to be convinced if somebody else is convinced. Like, the issue is that I don't understand what, like, first of all, I'm never going to have to make baby food again. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm done with that.
Not if Dax gets somebody pregnant.
Whoa, get somebody. Your choice of words, quite interesting there, Stas. Yeah, not if we knock some chick up. Man, jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, but, I mean, my point is I'm pretty sure that and also, I mean, I shouldn't say, whatever. I just don't know. I don't know what it is that people want from their baby food that the Spinzall. I'm sure there is something. I'm sure you're 100% right, Nastasia. Maybe someone out there could, figure out like some use for the Spinzall that is baby food. Oh, by the way. Oh, and Jackie Molecules. We now got Jackie Molecules. And you're out in Molecules land out there on the West Coast?
I'm in the West Coast.
Yeah. Moleculing it up. Yeah.
Moleculing it up.
Yeah. So, yeah, we need to find someone who, listen, anyone who can figure out a good use for the baby food stuff, like, we'll work with you because that would be a lifesaver, right, Stas?
Yeah, it would just be great.
Yeah, I would love it. Because you know what? People are willing to spend anything for their babies, right? And then after they have their babies, then you get a whole new set of people that have babies. It's the best. It's the best business. You know, to be in like something where people only need it for a very short period of time, but then new people keep needing it. That's the answer. That's the way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Until they stop making new people. We got at least 10 more years till they stop making new people. I bet. You know what I mean? Don't you think the human race has got at least another 10 good years in it?
Safe bet.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not, I won't say 50. I don't know, but we got 10. We got 10 in us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, how you doing, Jack?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I'm actually, I had a last minute change in plans. I'm on my way to San Francisco in a little bit. So,
do you know that San Francisco's airport is one of the largest airport by area in like anywhere, and like definitely one of the largest in the country? Why? Like, why would you, like, it's some of the most valuable land anywhere. Why would they have such a giant freaking airport?
All the travel to Asia gets routed through there, doesn't it?
I don't know. But like,
yeah, exactly.
but like it's been there for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what made me think of that. I guess
it's
because
all
you
the
said San
travel to
Francisco.
Asia.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But when they built SFO, there was no travel to Asia. You know, planes would have to like fly, like go to Hawaii, and you know what I mean?
Innovative and ahead of their time, Dave.
Oh yeah, which would be rare for someone in transportation to be innovative ahead of their time.
That's
Just
fair.
look at I-95, right?
God, yeah.
I mean,
What a joke.
It's like the least funny joke ever. Right. So today is Friday, August the what?
4th.
No,
that was last week. 11th. Yeah.
50th anniversary of hip hop. Today. And
wow.
I found out on my bike ride over here that there was unannounced at the Universal Museum of Hip Hop's like doing some sort of concert, I think at Yankee Stadium right now, unannounced. They announced it like 10 minutes before they went on. Freaking Flavor Flav and Chuck D got back together to do a Public Enemy thing live there that's going on right now.
Instead, you're here with us.
And there's no place I'd rather be. I mean, I guarantee you there's no way that those folks are getting back together again. Like every time Flavor Flav like tries to make some money or do some weird like Public Enemy side stuff, Chuck D's like, this is over. It's not part of it anymore. It's done. I mean, obviously he doesn't talk like that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, they were such.
I like that Chuck D impression. That was good.
But that was my normal like, you know, I'm angry impression. Like, but like he's like a, you know, like for someone my age, right? So like 52, like Public Enemy when they're coming out, like in like as a New Yorker from that time, like his voice is gotta be one of like the top 3 iconic voices of all time, like MC voices. You know what I mean? Like just, I mean, Chuck D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whatever. I was thinking if you went through all of the Public Enemy albums and removed all of like because Flavor Flav was always given like, aside from his normal hype man stuff, he was always given like 1 or 2 tracks that he would just basically just be Flavor Flav going nuts. And everyone always loved those tracks. But could you remove them from the Public Enemy and it still be the same? Or do you need 911 as a joke? Like you need 911 as a joke, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a great song, no?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of his stuff's jokey. I happen to like all of the Flavor Flav ones, like Cold Lampin'.
Yeah.
Anyway, Public Enemy. Enough. So, do any of you guys have any interesting stuff from last week? Because I certainly do. I was in London.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah. My pinky. I'm still trying to push my pinky back towards my cups as I drink. But yeah. I was there. I was doing Campari Academy UK, and I'll get into it in a minute. Let's do you guys first. What do you guys got over the past week? What's going on? By the way, Quinn is not able to come on today. He's under the weather. We hope to have Quinn back for next Tuesday. So we want to have him back, but he's not protesting the show. He's just not able to get on right now. So what do you guys got? Because he always has good things that he's done over the past week. No matter what it is, it's some like crazy experiment he likes to have, get done.
Yeah. I don't know. Crazy experiments for me. It's just been one of those weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone who's in the industry can relate. This is it's hard work.
Well, let's talk about working real hard in the summertime in New York and it being like the worst time to be in hospitality in New York. Like,
God, it's terrible.
How much do you love how much it sucks?
Yeah, it's miserable. It's slow. Sometimes it gets really busy, which is great, but you can't plan for that. And it's just...
Yeah. What about all of, like, everyone's refrigeration wants to go down in the summer because it's so hot.
Oh, the ice machine at the restaurant because the basement's so hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. And none of us can afford to put external compressors anywhere. We don't have the space, and no one will let us put it on the roof, and me. And like no one wants to put the investment in because the ice machine's been working for like 3 years and we only have another 3 years on the lease and me. So everything is always garbage all the time, and it just gets worse when it's hotter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where were you guys when we had that blackout in the early 2000s?
I was working in the Gray Bar building. In right near Grand Central.
When all the refrigeration, everything went out.
Yeah. So people were handing out ice cream. You knew who was a real jerk? The people who wouldn't hand out the ice cream. I'm like, they'd rather have it go bad than give the impression that they're going to give out the free. Yeah. Styles, were you in New York by that time or no?
Yeah, I was.
And where were you living at the time?
Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, me too. Really? Yeah. I mean, I was south. I'm in the garment district. Actually, Hell's Kitchen came online first. Like the power came back there first, and we didn't have power in so. My sister-in-law Miley, you know where Sullivan Street Bakery is over in the 40s up there, high 40s. Stodds, remember where that is? She lived across the street from there.
You told the story.
Not on the
I
radio.
didn't know this was.
Yeah, she lived across the street from there, and she was throwing a party on. I forget, the power went out. I forget what day the power went out, but she was throwing a party like a day and a half, 2 days later. And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll bring my stereo." Now, my stereo at the time was freaking huge. Like, I had these giant speakers that I had made. I had like 1,000-watt amplifier that I had built. I had all this stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, no worries. Don't worry about it." And I lived on the 20th floor of like a garment district building, and like she thought the party was going to be canceled because the power took 2 days to get back to me. Her power came back, so we hiked all this. I carried the entire stereo system down 20 flights of stairs to take to her apartment because I am not a bad brother-in-law. I may be bad at other things, but not a bad brother-in-law. Anyway, yeah. Everyone thought it was.
Yeah, I was on the Long Island Railroad when that happened. It was terrible.
Oh man, that does suck. Yeah, because what are you going to do? Did you have to get out and then walk down the tracks to get home, or what?
That's exactly right. Yep.
No, that's fun. Yay. Yeah. I think I was not in the subway. I was above ground. So we just walked down, but I'm sure like all the people in the tunnels are like, and there's no communication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even worse.
And that was the one that was caused by some knucklehead in Canada blowing a transformer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, to this day, people tell me what happened and I'm like, what? Some freak in Canada blows a transformer and the little line of a billion dominoes somehow makes it to Manhattan and knocks out like the biggest city in the country. It was nuts. We all thought it was terrorism at first.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was working at a restaurant, Little Frankie's, down in East Village, and I remember when everything went out, we were giving food away. People pulled their cars up to the sidewalk to put their lights on to shine light in, because of course they were still making pizza because they're doing pizza ovens, like the Vesuvian lava, whatever.
Yeah,
that was good. That was a really fun day.
Yeah. You gotta right? Gotta cook everything now. Because as soon as the power is done, there's no point. Like, here's the thing, like the deli people were like, maybe if the power comes back on and no one opens the freezer, it'll be fine. Because in fact, your home stuff is fine for like basically a day. If you have enough thermal mass in there, if your fridge is empty, you're going to lose everything. But if you're full of stuff, like you're okay. But in commercial environment, you can't redo that. You're done.
Yeah.
That stuff's gone.
Yeah.
And then do you guys remember the people who did like leave the ice cream in the case and then try to sell it after the power came back on? It was all like, yeah, people suck.
Oh God,
people suck. And the dry ice deliveries and stuff. You try to get dry ice, and whenever the freezers would go down, but you can't. If the entire city is down, you can't. Everyone love when your power goes out, and at the school we have these big walk-ins, right? So it was many thousands of dollars what you would lose if you lost all of your walk-ins. So we always, whenever we had a power outage, they would bring dry ice in.
Yeah.
And then we just have to warn people not to go in there or you die. Like, food's going to be fine. You,
not so much.
Not so fun. Not so fine. More dead. More not living anymore. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's what good times. What made you think of the blackout?
As soon as you, sorry, turned my headphones. As soon as you were talking about refrigerators and walk-ins and stuff like that, I just went back in time. Basically, I just remembered taking the bus home at like 2 a.m. because of the mess that we had to clean up in the restaurant because it was just a disaster. I just won't ever forget on the bus going home. It was just fully packed. I lived on 104th and First Ave, and some guy kept on insisting that someone was farting in the bus and it smelled like popcorn. I think he kind of enjoyed it. It was very bizarre moment. Yeah.
I want to know what they were taking and can I still buy some? Who's farting? It smells like popcorn. I kind of like it. What?
Oh, gosh.
Like, man, I want some of that. Whatever that is. Yeah. We had just recently moved out of New York City when the 77 blackout happened. So I wasn't in the city for that, but I heard it was crazy. Like, the other big blackout was, of course, when we had the hurricane. There wasn't as much looting and stuff as people say. The city was relatively well behaved during that blackout, with the exception of the traffic lights not working. There'd be like T-boned freaking like cars just like littering the intersections.
Yeah, if you looked at us like a satellite image of the city, it was like split. It was like black and white. It was like 77th and everything north was lit. Everything below was blacked out.
Yeah.
Alphabet City was flooded. People were surfing in the streets. It was kind of crazy.
So Nastasia at that time was chilling up in Hell's Kitchen, right? So you got your power back like in a day, right, Stas? For the hurricane?
Yeah.
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 And Piper, who was working with us at the time, this was when we were developing this Searsall and all that, and we had just opened Booker and Dax pretty recently, and he lived in Brooklyn. So Nastasia made him. This is like a quest, like a some sort of like bad quest movie. Nastasia literally says, "Piper, remember this? Piper, walk over the bridge into Manhattan, go to the Lower East Side, find Dave, and tell him that they want to use him on the Today Show." Swear to God. Swear to God.
Oh, yeah.
Swear to God. And he walked over the bridge and freaking found me because we had no cell service, we had nothing. It was like a Hobbit situation. You know what I mean? Anyway, and then I felt kind of bad, like leaving the neighborhood because it was almost like I was like, "I'm gone, people, psh, I'm out." And then we got sent up to Uptown and had power and like showering. Oh man, so fancy showering. Anyway, I'm still mad at the cell tower companies for not having any backup. That was the worst.
Yeah.
We had to walk all the way up to Midtown for there to be power for us to get phone service to figure out that we weren't going to get power for a week. Jerks. Hey, Stas, Con Ed, on it, right? On it. And they had all their trucks. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. In Union Square, where there's obviously still no power, that's on 14th Street. So that's like a third of the way up, not even, like quarter of the way up the island. So I'm there and I see like a Con Ed person. I'm like, "Hey, when's the power going to be on?" And I thought they were going to be like, "Oh, like, 2 hours, 3 hours." And the dude was like, "No, the power is gone." And I'm like, what do you mean gone? And he's like,
vacation.
It's gone. I was like, "What?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Anyway.
Gone.
And then we got pummeled by a storm the week later.
Dude, I don't even remember, man. Nothing.
It was freezing. It was Halloween.
No, yeah. Oh, Halloween sucked that year. Oh, man. Halloween sucked that year. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Anyway. So, anyone else got any fun stuff, non-blackout related, maybe cooking related? Anything? Maybe? Oh my God. And so then Nastasia got really mad at me during the Sandy blackout because we finally get to go on the Today Show, right? With I think it was Kathy Lee was running it, right? So I finally get to meet Kathy Lee. We had met, Nastasia and I had already met Regis back in the day because he came to the French Culinary Institute and we scolded Regis Philbin, right? And then Bethany Frankel said some unkind things afterwards about it. Remember that, Stas?
That was you and Mindy, not me.
Oh, it was before your time? All right. Well, anyway, so I get to go to the Kathy Lee. And Stassi was like, "I looked so angry and depressed on that thing." Stassi was like, "You couldn't freaking," like the stuff I say to her all the time, she was saying to me. She was like, "You couldn't perk up for even like 2 minutes for the segment? You look like you're ready to kill somebody."
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Remember when the Today Show wanted the wine zombie and you said no?
That I don't think that's accurate. I understand what you're saying. I remember something like this, but I don't remember it being as cut and dry as what you just said. How do you remember it? You tell me how you remember it in a more like not just one sentence situation.
They said we want the wine zombie, and you said it's a stupid idea, and we're never going to make it. Tell them no.
Okay.
Does that sound familiar?
No. There was many times where we didn't have one set up, so we would have had to build a whole new thing.
No, we had two. Piper had made two. Whatever.
Piper made
Fine.
two.
Stupid
You
idea.
always roped me into making all of those things all the time. You and Piper would go there, and then you'd be like, "Dave, it's not working," and I would have to come work on it. So all the time,
So
I'm
you
seen as
do
the bad
remember
guy.
that there were
No.
two.
At one time, we had two, but they were always broken and janky, and definitely not Today Show ready, right? And they always had leaks and stuff, but you know, it's always like, "Oh, Dave says no, Dave says no." But then you're always like, "Oh, Dave, come do this. I would help you anyway." Like the backup pasta flyer was basically Wine Santa assembly like area. Booker and Dak still has the Wine Zombie parts. So
Storage, yeah.
Santa is basically just a stick with a hoop skirt. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The dancing Santa. Did more people want, because you actually had 3. You had 2 white Santas and 1 black Santa, right?
Yeah.
And so how many people requested black Santa versus white Santa? Because you used to give them a choice. 0?
0. Nobody wanted that responsibility.
What responsibility? No one wanted black Santa?
No.
Now,
Maybe now. Maybe people would want one now.
yeah, it was a while ago. I'm disappointed in humanity again. I still think we have 10 years left in us, though,
We'll see.
as a group. All right.
So I don't have a food thing, Dave,
Yeah.
but you know what did happen to me this week?
What's that?
I've been working in digital media for 20 years, and I have a ton of archives, and I finally decided this was the week that I was going to consolidate all my backups into one organized place and get everything on the cloud.
Uh-oh.
And in the middle of doing it, hard drive dies.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
Ugh.
And let me wait. How good does it get? Does it get, like, was everything chunked into one big file so you can't even get the stuff that you had beforehand, or did you at least get that first half off intact?
No, it was the last folder was being moved to, and this was idiotic of me, to one hard drive, which was going to be the place I organized the backup. And that's the hard drive that died.
Oh, Jesus.
So all of it.
So do you have, like, some sort of forensic weasel working on it?
I do, yeah, I do.
Is it a LaCie?
I should hear. It's a Seagate.
Oh, Seagates are good.
Nah, you never know, man.
I don't know.
Was it solid state or like a real old school hard disk?
Sounds like a spinning disc.
It wasn't solid state. It was just, regular external USB. So we have to pray to the tech gods that these recovery people are able to save it.
Let's all think of Jack's data in our hearts.
It's just a PSA to all the listeners.
Yeah.
Get on your backups. Keep your things organized.
Just send good.
Don't be me.
Send good thoughts towards Jack's data.
White gloves and dust-free rooms.
How much does that cost to get them the stuff back? Because, like, basically you need it. So they're like, we'll let you know once we figure out what's on it, how much we're going to charge you. You know what I mean? Is it like that?
They gave me a flat quote. I found a good place doing a little bit of Reddit digging, and it looks like with a replacement drive all in, it should be $600, which is not fun. But
I mean, at that price, are they good enough? You need some CIA level people, some NSA weasels on your freaking thing. You know what I mean?
God, we'll see. Yeah. Well, they're not going to charge me if they can't get the data. So that's
yeah. But if they can't get the data, have they ruined the chance of the next more expensive person getting the data or not?
It's a great question, but I would sure hope not.
Son of a gun.
I hope the files are labeled well.
They were at least.
Yeah, I've had this problem before, and if they're not labeled well, it comes back decrypted like crazy. Like I have to go through everything.
Nah, man. Hey, Stas, this makes our tech problems seem like nothing.
Yeah, when I was like, F me, and you were like, no, F me.
Yeah, but we got it back. That's all. It's all fun. It's all fun. Speaking of fun, so I was in England for the Campari Academy UK. They own the Campari Academy there. The Campari group own their building, which is kind of cool. They have this whole building, which is nice. And, we were at the Academy doing our thing. And it was the first time I took our 2.0 Stas over there and plugged it into 220 power, and it worked fine. Worked great. So,
huzzah.
Yeah. So something's working right anyway, right? No problems, no nothing. Plugged it right in, and away it went. Yeah, it was great. You know what I mean? Even, I was a little worried that it might get mad because England's plugs are so goofy. They're the world's goofiest power plugs. Like,
yeah.
I mean, America does a lot of stupid things, but UK's plugs are ridiculous. They're like, it's like the Fisher Price Corporation made the UK's plugs. You know what I mean? They're like the size of your fist. They're like, like they look like a lemur monkey's face. They're huge.
They are very big.
They're like, I'm running. It doesn't matter. The smallest piece of equipment takes that giant plug. It's like, it's not a dryer. What the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally the plug weighs more than like the iPhone you're charging. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I have to say this. So the food related stuff, I went to Hawksmoor there hoping to get a Sunday roast, but they were out of Sunday roast. And I was like, and I was there early. They're like, well, it's more of a lunch thing. I'm like, no, suck it. I didn't say that. I said, I'll have something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my mind was, suck it. You know what I mean? Also, I went to not like some sort of hyper fancy, again, late because I landed late, right? And it was the first night so I wasn't, hooked up with anyone, right? So I went to get like fish and chips at a, regular fish and chips place near where I was staying. I was staying in Piccadilly. And I got there right before they closed. They were out of mushy peas. I was like, why are you alive? And you're out of mushy peas. Because I love me some mushy peas.
Yeah, very good.
Love me some mushy peas made with the marrow fat peas. Different pea. By the way, people in the United States who like think that they're going to make mushy peas just by cooking regular peas and mashing them up a little bit and like throwing some mint and stuff. No, different pea, the marrow fat pea. But in order to make them green, they typically put like baking soda or some other stuff in to keep those things green so they don't go brown with all the cooking and stuff. They're good. I like them a lot. Anyway. And of course, those size French fries they call them chips. You know what I mean? In the mind of, because I had this conversation several times, right? So they're like, a French fry is more like a McDonald's thing, whereas this thing is a chip. I was like, first of all, I will never say crisp instead of potato chip. And we just call them all fries here. It's just what size of fry do you want? And those are steak fries. And they are fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're fine. But their fish game was very strong. So, I'd like to see more of that in this country. So even at the very end of the night, I was like, I want the fish and chips. And so the guy goes, this is what I like. This is just a normal guy on the line at a, mid-range, chip shop. He goes, I got you. I got a nice piece of haddock. And he opens like his fish drawer, right? And all the full fillets are lined up, right? Ready to rock, like being kept really nicely. And he pulls out the whole fillet, like fresh, not like pre-done or anything. And then does the boop boop bat in the oil with the little boop, the little shoop of like putting the thing in the oil. And then the fish and chip takeaway box, because they were closing, so I couldn't stay there. The fish and chip takeaway box is the length of an entire fillet. And they put the chips down, the mad chips that nobody, they care about them, whatever. And then the fish right on top so that it's the ideal way if you have to take a fried food out. And yeah, I was like, okay, win. Good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have won this. You have won this battle, England. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see more like fish done that way here.
Yeah.
But I guess it would be hard because everyone's going to want to sandbag and get everything ready to fry so it's super fast, because I guess we're not doing enough of it to be able to do it the way that they're doing it. Their volume of fish is just.
Also, to charge somebody for a whole side of fish here would be prohibitively expensive. I don't think people would be willing to pay that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but I was like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Fish for nothing, chips for free. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't even that much money, I don't think. Of course, who knows, because it's in pounds.
Yeah.
So like my mind is not like whatever.
Yeah.
But mainly because I was being brought over by Campari UK, so I was teaching a master class. I'll say this. The freaking like London is way ahead of where a lot of we are on specifically things like rotary evaporation. A lot of people are using rotary evaporators over there. And I think it's because their laws don't kind of prohibit it. That's one reason. But I still have to figure out how they make it like sustainable from like a business model standpoint, because rotary evaporators are still quite expensive. So I don't really know how the economics of it work over there, but there's a lot of people using rotary evaporators over there now. So The last place I went, I think, was the most Rotovap heavy program, is the Bar with Shapes for a Name. You heard of this place? Bar with Shapes for a Name. And so like most of their stuff, all of their stuff is kind of pre-bottled and then and they pour them out of bottles. But like they have like a bunch of Rotovaps going all the time. And I learned some stuff because some of the things that I used to hate. Hey, Nastassia, do you remember the old Rotovap connector that we were super excited to get, where it screwed together so we could open it up and clean inside of it? The old distillation flask, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a big mason jar, and we were so excited to get it because like we always hated cleaning out the freaking flask, right?
It was easier to lick this one.
Well, you could put it in dish and get the stuff out. You know what I mean? But the problem was it didn't work. It leaked 100% of the time. 100% of the time this thing leaked. So I told everyone that the 5 people I knew that were using Rotovaps, I was like, don't buy it. It sucks. The new one works. The new one, it like just quarter turn, click, locks, good, doesn't leak. So that was good. The new things to take the you remember how the little spin doodle to get the flask off? People would break the flasks all the time with that little freaking metal arm would go over. They would do it the wrong way. We would have people coming in the first day they were training. People would come in and we'd be like, whatever you do, be careful with this spin doodle, right? And they would just be this spin doodle, and they would go and break $400 worth of glassware, and we're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Styles remembers. And and then we were doing the Homer Simpsons, like, it's still good, it's still good. You know, remember when the pig was flying through the air and he's like, it's still good, it's still good. We would do the same thing with the distillation flask, because we always had so much we had to distill, right? And no one ever gave us the money to have spares around. So we would use it up until the point that glass was flying into our eyes. You know what I mean? Anyway. And the new vacuums are much nicer, and the new vacuum controllers are much nicer. So, whatever. That is what it is. So bars with Shapes for Name, went to Nomad, saw Leo Robicek. It's good to see that Nomad is still a bar entity over there. Excellent as usual. Went to Taylor in Elementary, which is Monica Sue and Alex Cretana. Great. Monica Berg and Alex Cretana. And amazing program. Did in front mainly taps, and then for that day, and then I didn't get to go in back because they weren't open that day. And Artesian, which is old school, modern, all amazing stuff. Quaint, Dover Yard, just a really good time. And then the last stop I made right before I had to leave, Neil's Yard Dairy, and I got super stinky cheese. I had like all of my stuff with me, like my backpack was full, so I had to put it down, and I got really amazing cheddar, really amazing Stilton and Stilton likes. And then the guy was like, I don't recommend you bring these softer wash wine cheeses home with you. I'm like, I don't really care what you recommend. And I brought home like this thing that was kind of like a Langres, which is called Saint Serre, something like that. And then something that was called like Roll Right, and it was basically like a Försterkäse, so it's like almost like Vacheron style, but with a piece of spruce wrapped around it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I brought them on the plane, which was not cool, but tasted delicious. Tasted delicious. I was like, people were like, what the hell? I'm like, I just smell bad. This is just me. I just smell like this all the time.
Can you see how much I'm sweating?
Yeah. I'm a super sweaty, smelly man.
Yeah.
And you can't really, if you don't know cheese is around, you don't know it's cheese. I'm not going to tell the guy next to me that it's cheese. This is a terrible thing to do. I don't recommend. I should not have done it. The guy was right and I was wrong. But the cheese is delicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Stas would be. Stas would have brought home the cheese if Stas wanted the cheese, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you...
No.
No? You're saying you wouldn't? You're saying new Stas wouldn't have brought the cheese home?
Not cheese, no.
I feel like
Well,
old
if you
Stas.
liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stas likes something, she'll break the rule and bring it home.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. If it was something you cared about that also smelled bad.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Zev writes in, I just watched a pretty convincing video claiming to debunk the necessity of gently folding in egg whites and angel food cakes, souffles, etc. Curious to get Dave and the team's reaction to this heresy. No, it's true. Like folding is an ineffective technique that I think that tends to. This was first debunked like maybe 15, 20 years ago by the Cooks Illustrated team, where they were doing, for some things, I'm not saying for every recipe, but for ancient food cake specifically, just dump the stuff in, leave the whisk, and just go whoom, 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 quickly combine it, because you can combine the stuff together in like 2 seconds that way. And I think you actually get less deflation, and so does Chris Kimball and the rest of the people that tested it at Cooks Illustrated. So to me, I just incorporate it quickly, but I still use the machine to incorporate it. When you're sitting there and folding, nothing's worse when you're making the ancient food cake than the streaks of egg white that haven't been incorporated. And I'm like, you, my friend, were too afraid of deflating it, so instead you've handed me trash. You know what I mean? It's like, it's got to be well combined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the fastest, most effective way to combine it is to just leave it in the equipment. Just don't run it forever. You know what I mean? What were the other things that they said that they made? I haven't tested it with souffles. I'm sure all of these things are the same. Like, by the time you fold it with a spatula enough that you have thoroughly combined it, then especially like in a souffle or something where the real problem is you're folding fat into egg whites, and so it's deflating like a mother, right? Yeah. I mean, by the time you're done trying to get the streaks out, you should have just used the machine. Whoop, 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 done. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my feeling. Dave Kleiman, I've been doing sous vide since 2009. That being said, I was doing beef cheek, beef burgundy style. The bags are well sealed. You know, I haven't cooked cheek in like a billion years. I don't even remember the last time I cooked cheek.
Delicious.
Yeah. Do you know what I don't enjoy? Okay, don't get mad. So like I like ossobuco a lot, like veal shank. I love myself some veal shank. I love myself some lamb shank. I love myself some pork shank. Beef shank, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
All right. So someone will get mad at me, but
It's fine.
yeah. Not as bad as bear. Oh my God, that bear tasted bad. Oh my God. Where was I? Oh yeah. That being said, I was doing beef cheek, beef burgundy style. You want to, Mr. Francophile, give the rundown on beef burgundy?
Beef bourguignon.
Yeah.
Yeah, beef cheek, I guess, seared off, throw in a little flour, butter, make a little roux, add red wine, cook it down, add stock, carrots, onions, cook it down. Then towards the end, and bacon too. Add pearl onions towards the end.
Little cubes, little cubey cubes of bacon. Yeah. But not smoked, right?
No, not smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, parsley over some potatoes, and
that sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good. I like that.
Very good. Yeah.
You say use the tiny pearl onions, or you pearl onion man?
Yeah, frozen pearl onions.
Yeah, man. I mean, we know about this. Yeah. We've talked about this. All right. The bags were well sealed in a vacuum chamber sealer. All the veggies were browned. The alcohol so the reason I'm being told this is the veggies were browned, i.e., if you have to sweat the veg you use in sous vide so that you get rid of the air that's in it. You're trying to collapse them down a little bit and get the air out of them. That's one of the main things you're doing by doing that. Alcohol from the red wine was cooked off. That's another thing that can volatilize in the bag. Plus, also, it won't evaporate, so it's going to throw off everything. The meat seared. By the way, one thing I would say, each pack was marinated overnight for 36F, and the bags are immersed in a large, well-insulated bath, maintaining a temperature of 140 Fahrenheit, which is 60 Celsius for all you people who, use the correct, cooking, degrees for this. I'm going to say one thing beforehand, and I don't think this is the cause of your problem, Dave, but when you're doing braises in a bag, and maybe you did this, but you didn't specifically say so in your prep, you want to over-reduce your sauces, like almost until when they're cold, they're like ping pong balls. And the reason, assuming it's got gelatin in it, and the reason you want to over-reduce is that if you don't, all of the liquid that comes out of the meat as it's quote unquote braising in the bag is going to take it in. The sauce is going to become so thin that you're like almost in, say pot au feu in a nice way.
Pot au feu.
Yeah, you're almost in that kind of a zone of like liquid levels, which is not what you're looking for in this kind of a braise. You want kind of a more unctuous sauce. So to get that unctuous sauce in the end, especially because meat cooked in a thin sauce doesn't taste the same as meat cooked in a thick sauce. So it's not the same thing to drain it and reduce it. Plus, also reducing bag sauces, you have to skim the life out of them because all of the weird proteins that coagulate later because you had never boiled it will float up and gunk up your stuff. So, in my opinion, it is better to over reduce your sauces when they're going to go into the bag, just in general, so that they come out closer to what you want. And the same is actually, this is one of the main problems with braises in a pressure cooker is when you're in a pressure cooker and you're doing a braise, you can't have it be so thick that it scorches before it comes up to temperature, right? And the thicker your sauce, your braising liquid is in a pressure cooker, the much higher the chance that you get scorching. Especially if you old school. Remember the old school recipes? You'll layer the bottom with onions and then put your stuff on top and then liquids. And those onions are kind of like a barrier. So if there's any kind of scorching on an onion, it's not as bad as scorching some of the other things, right? If you do that in a pressure cooker, you have to add even more heat so there's more scorching because you still need to get it up to pressure, right? So thickness in pressure cookers is a problem. That's why what I like to do is I like to do the cheat that I learned from the Belgians, which is I put the liquids in the bottom with along with the alliums, I still do that, meats, and then the 4 slices of dark bread on top with the freaking mustard. You close that sucker up. And if you take the crust off the breads, because the crust doesn't melt so much, but if you take the crust off the breads, I don't, though. I leave the crust on because I don't care. And once you pressure cook it, you can just stir that bread into the braise, and it fundamentally disintegrates into almost like a ribolito kind of texture, and it's the best. And that way you get the best of all the worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay if the sauce gets thick once you're up at pressure. It's if the sauce gets thick before you hit pressure that there's problem, because you need to get the entire vessel up to temperature and pressurized before you turn the heat down. Anyway. Yeah. And you have a problem if you're using like an induction burner like the Control Freak, right? So on a Control Freak, mine talks Fahrenheit. Sorry, people. That's like you're shooting for 259 Fahrenheit, which is like second ring, 15 PSI. But in all honesty, you're always keeping it 2 degrees below because it'll actually make the inside a little bit hotter, how it's working. At least mine does. I haven't calibrated it in a long time. So you're rocking it right around there. So if you notice that you have to set your pressure cooker up to like 275, 260, 275 to get it to come up to pressure, that there is some reason it's too thick or there is something burning on the bottom of your pan that's stopping it from coming up to pressure quickly. Anyway, enough of that because that wasn't Dave's question. Each pack was marinated overnight. The bags were immersed in a large, well-insulated bath, maintaining a temperature of 140 Fahrenheit for 72 hours. Up until this 24-hour point, all was well. At about 41 hours, I noticed some puffing in one bag. Well, get this, it's even worse. Talk about, I observed some puffing in one bag and more puffing in the other. Man, just like give me the bad and then the worse. I checked all the temperatures, the bath, as well as the steamy air above the bath. Everything was at 140. So why the puffing? It's a good question. So 60 is nowhere near. Like a lot of the times you'll get puffing in bags that are, down like more like 55, 56, 54, and the bags get close enough to each other or they're touching each other such that there's a zone in there where the temperature is not high enough to kill bacteria fast enough. They make a little bit of gas, then that gas puffs up. Once it puffs up, you can't get good thermal contact into it, and sometimes those bags will then never get up to temperature. And, we have done ones where you open it and it smells like cheese. It's just like not okay. The worst was we once did a thing and they set up because we used to run like confit, right? When we weren't allowed to use bags, we used to actually, the old style circulators, you could circulate fat. So we would get like big buckets of like lard or chicken fat or butter or whatever we had, sometimes just cheap fat, you know what I mean? And we would circulate the fat. The fat doesn't move around very well. So you get very big temperature gradients in fat. And also fat is not as good at heat transfer as water. It's like not nearly as good. So it's very easy when you're trying to rock low temperatures to have large gradients and to really have a problem if there's not a lot of movement. So we threw a bunch of pork into this fat and came back in 24 hours later. The entire amphitheater smelled like bad cheese. You remember that, Stas? Oh my God. We threw it all away. There's that 1 second when you're like, maybe we can rectify this. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Every cook knows what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that 1 second. You're like, we can fix it. We can fix it. And then your reality snaps. You're like, nope. This is toast.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. That was the worst. Because we used to do fat all the time, like fat holding in the restaurant, right? Because at the time, like they didn't want to have a HACCP plan for the students because what a nightmare to have the students kind of doing a HACCP plan, but they still wanted to do a lot of these low temp things. So in order to have things not have to come out of bags, no matter how they were cooked, they would hot hold in oil with a circulator, and then you'd pull them hot hold out of the oil, do the sear off, but they were only being held for like a couple of hours. They'd already been cooked.
Yeah.
Anyway, still a good technique, but it pains so much oil. And then you have to technically after a while, all the water sinks to the bottom, and that stuff's not safe.
Yeah.
Right? So every day or so you have to get rid of the water and heat all the oil, right? Because you don't want to be incubating crap in the water that's sinking to the bottom of your oil bath.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know what caused that puffing, man, because 140, 60 Celsius is way above the temperature where most of that stuff is going to happen. All of the stuff like bones, stuff like, any residual air in your carrots, that would have happened in the first couple of hours as it was coming up to temperature, not after hour 21. You're definitely getting something growing in that. And so I don't know. Some things that can happen is, and I don't know that anyone has fixed this recently, but I had once someone come in, the nighttime, like the porter, unplugged my circulators and cleaned a bunch of stuff, right? Now, they didn't plug it back in, so when I came in the morning, I knew all my stuff was ruined, right? But I don't know whether maybe you had some sort of human-caused power interruption, and then something could, generate in there, cause gas, and then puff up. I don't know. I'd be curious to know how they smelled, although smell is not an indicator of safety at all. Smell is not an indicator of safety. In fact, that's one of the main dangers of vacuum bagging is that the stuff that causes spoilage inside of a vacuum bag often doesn't smell. So I don't know. That's maybe anyone sends me stuff. Let me know. I have a PID oven set to 140 for making garum, so temporarily I stuck the bags in there, but what should I do next? Chill and re-vacuum, then observe for more puffing, throw it all out, boil it, heat it to 155. I think it's toast, man. Yeah. I mean, hit up the bug counter and Ben Schaefer over, on Risky or not. No, Ben Chapman and Don.
Yeah,
I'm getting everyone's.
Not Garrett Richard.
I'm getting all my names freaking mixed up today. Monica's name, everyone's name. My brain's a little bit confused. But yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't trust it. Once it puffs 24 hours later, I don't understand, unless the bags were compromised. But then you'd also see a lot more liquid in it. Usually, you'd see a lot more liquid if the bags were compromised. But I don't know what's going to grow at that temperature. It's not, but it sounds unpleasant to me. Beef Nog, licking the Rotovap. RE licking the Rotovap to sense the presence of spiciness. Is there any non-human tasting way to measure the presence of spiciness? Well, Nastassia thinks I'm a non-human way to taste the spiciness. But I wasn't going to do it because then I wouldn't be learning
So does
anything.
John.
What?
Oh, I did a poll at my restaurant. Yeah, people don't agree also.
They think you shouldn't lick the spiciness?
No.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't get away with it.
Why?
Because you get in trouble.
For what?
We went over this last time. It's like somebody said it's like frat hazing.
Why is it like frat hazing?
Because we did this last time.
Yeah, but somehow make me understand it.
I know. Well, but we're not going to understand each other.
Well, no, but I know it's why is it like frat? What is the similarity between frat hazing and this? So you don't understand it because you can't explain it to me? What is the similarity?
It'd be like having somebody eat a habanero.
No, it would not be like that.
I know it's different.
I would never make someone do that, ever.
No, I know. But there's still, you just couldn't get away with that stuff now.
But,
it's just different.
Yeah, but there's what I'm hearing is just, oh, sounds bad, robot, sounds bad. What I'm not hearing is why it's like that other thing, which is bad. So like hazing, bad.
Yeah.
How is this like that?
Because if you're forcing,
Wait, they're a cook.
Yes.
Okay. So they're cooking foods
Yes.
that are going to be served to people.
Yeah.
And tasting is part of being a cook, making sure that the stuff you're putting out tastes right.
Yes.
Okay. So we agree on this.
Yes.
So how is this like hazing?
Because there's pain involved.
No, I didn't say it's not. If they've cleaned it so poorly that it's painful.
Well, yeah.
Then
yes, I know. There is that asterisk that they need to have cleaned it properly. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you clean it very thoroughly,
Yeah.
and then you test it to see if there's residual spiciness. It's not painful. It's just residual spiciness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Varying
how is
degrees
it like,
of residual spiciness.
what?
There can be varying degrees of residual spiciness. And again, yes, this is like predicated on them cleaning it properly. And if they don't clean it properly, like it's on them, it's still spicy, but.
Yeah, and then everything is ruined for everybody.
I understand. Yes.
So how is this, like hazing is where you make somebody do something embarrassing or messed up or painful just to make them feel bad. This is, I need a piece of equipment to not ruin everybody's time. And you are cleaning it and need to verify that it is clean. And so I don't understand how these two things are related. Because they don't have to do it in public. They don't have to show me. They don't have. We don't take pictures of them and laugh them
in public.
Yeah, you are. You're doing it with all of the whatever they're
With whatever other classmates you have around.
Yeah, hazing is about public embarrassment. No one's ever like, go home, tell me you did something, and then come back. You're hazed. That's not how it works.
No. Yeah.
Right. So these are unrelated. You don't need to do it in front of me. You don't need to do anything. You need to test it with your tongue, the only piece of equipment you have that can detect whether you've cleaned it properly, and then clean it again. Not related.
But they're not cleaning this in the vacuum of their home, right? They're doing this in like the context of a class or of a school. It's in public.
They can go wherever they want to test it. I don't watch them clean the whole thing the whole time. And like, these are unrelated. They're unrelated. This is one of those things that just bends me because, like, it's one of those things where sounds bad is not bad. So it's like, and you know, I think like we have enough things in the world that are bad.
Yeah.
That to like think that things that aren't bad are the things that are bad pisses me off because it's free.
Yeah, but that's how the world's working now.
Okay, well, you know. No,
I don't think Nastasia and I inherently have
that.
problems with what you're doing. I would do it. I think Nastasia would too, but you couldn't make people do that now. You would get some kind of backlash.
But based on what? Based on it being what?
Based on people not wanting to do things that they don't want to do or feel like, you know, they're being hazed.
Okay.
Feel like.
Well,
initiated.
What'd you say?
Force.
Say what?
Initiated by force.
Wait, what?
Unpleasantly initiated.
Is this Jordana Rothman? Wait,
what?
so Jordana Rothman, welcome to the show. What is it that you said? I couldn't hear exactly what you said. What'd you say?
I said unpleasantly initiated.
This is not an initiation. You don't.
That is unpleasant initiation.
Right. Your first experience with our team isn't where you get to use the most expensive piece of equipment we had. These are all people who are trained, who are like members of the team and have been members of the team for a long time. This is not something you have to do to get into the team. This is something that happens when something goes wrong while we are making something with an incredibly expensive piece of equipment that's taking hours of work to make something that we're going to serve to a bunch of people. So again, I don't see how they're related.
You have to prove that you're worthy of using the most expensive piece of equipment.
You have to prove you're worthy way before you clean the machine.
It.
No, you don't have to lick it.
You don't have to lick it.
No, why not?
Well,
so how are we going to test it? How are we going to see whether or not? I mean, I do it when I make the mistake. I do.
You do all the licking.
I do. If I'm cleaning the machine, I lick it.
Licker.
No, that's so stupid.
I know you lick it.
I know, I love to lick it, but that's the stupidest thing. I mean, in the pantheon of things I've heard you say, it doesn't make any sense. I want you to tell me in the reality why someone who is fully trained, if I'm telling them how to run the rotary evaporator, and if I make the mistake and I'm cleaning it, that's the only way for me to test. And if I'm not the one making it or cleaning it, that's the only way for them to test. They're already in the club, Jordana. They're already part of the team. So why is it that it's
actually
it's not hazing?
a brotherhood.
Actually, we had about half men and half women.
Listen, first of all, I have a meeting. Second of all,
Hey, you're the one that came on. You're the one that came on.
I wanted to say hello.
Hello.
But I do think that as a leader, it's on you to be house liquor.
That is not good training.
That's clearly an important role.
Everyone saw me lick.
Role.
Everyone saw me lick.
Heavy is the head that licks the spindle.
Everyone is. So what you're saying is, see, what I'm getting out of this is that I don't trust them enough to let them lick it. I don't care about them enough as people or as cooks to train them to do a good job. What you're saying is that I have to take all this. In other words, I can't trust anyone to be a real human being or a decent cook or care about their guests enough to make sure that their product is good. And instead, I have to have all of the control myself, right? All of the control of everything is only on me, and crap on those people who are working. They are just peon idiots and can't be trusted to make a good product. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it feels like to me. Because that is what you're doing when you're licking the Rotovap, is you're proving that you're making a good product for the people that you're making product for. That is honor. That is being a cook. So to only do it myself means I don't respect them at all, that they are filth, that they are worthless, just interns who have no worth to me at all. That's what that means to me.
Fired!
Well, we can't fire people because they were also students. They were also students. So they were also our customers. But, so you know what I'm saying? It's like...
Love my time with you, Dave.
What?
I love my time with you.
Yeah, me too. You got to come back more often. You're all the way, up there in Hudson. You're in Hudson, right?
I'm in the area, but I will say that I've suffered a really intense injury from licking a Rotovap.
This is a lie. This is a lie. This is a... People, this is a complete lie. This is a complete lie.
It was so spicy that it pulled a membrane off of my tongue.
Why'd you do such a bad job cleaning it the first time around?
You forced me to do it, and you know what? I didn't clean it. You did.
That is not the case. This is just making it. This is all fabrications, which I appreciate them though. You know what, Jordana? Here's why I miss you, because you can just say, and we won't go too far into it, a full-on fabrication with a straight face. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a skill. That is definitely a skill. Yeah. So how's it going?
Well, I'm going to step in and receive this compliment, which I just heard, and will receive it as a compliment because the other night, Nastasia made me go to a bar that she claimed was a gay bar, and there's never been a gay person in there until I walked in. And I was so bored that I had to tell a few of the assembled locals that I was a Northeast distributor for wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men.
Oh my God.
And I just love the joy and the cheer that it brings. And that's what it's all about. And live life, live, laugh, love.
All right.
Wave.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Jordana. So, I mean, did you come up with that on the spot? Because that is like, of all the things you could have picked, like, that is amazing. And I'm sure the follow-up questions were fantastic, right? First of all, this all checks out that Nastasia would say it's a gay bar. This checks out.
My Rotovap.
This all checks out. But that's a genius thing. I have questions about those things. I mean, even though like I know it's a lie, I might ask you about them. Like, how custom are they? How long does it take to get them? You know what I mean? Has your business really gone up? Because the CBD, they're perfect for CBD shops, for like the weed shops. I mean, because they're kind of like,
She's gone.
Anyway.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah. Anyway, nice try. Nice try, people. Nice try. Beef now. Oh, yeah. Is there any non-human way to measure the presence of spiciness? I know the Scoville scale for whole peppers, but presence of spicy, is there any way to measure bitter? You could measure in 15 to 20 years, we'll all be able to just shoot it with an infrared, near infrared spectrometer, and we'll know instantly what's in it. but that's 15 years away. Until that, all I have is my tongue. You know what I mean? And, crap on anyone who I'm going to die on that freaking hill. Michael Vahabi, looking to make, we're out of time. Looking to make allspice dram since it's impossible to find in Canada. Hosting a little party on the 18th. Would love to serve Navy grog from Tropical Standards. I do have access to allspice oil. They don't use the oil. They use, maybe they do commercially, but they just use allspice. And I know that allspice generally has 2.5 milliliters of volatile oil per 100 grams of allspice. Can I just use the allspice oil in place of steeping cracked allspice for 2 weeks? Let me know. If you're going to do that, you're going to make it really strong. What I would recommend is get you some gum arabic and use gum arabic as an emulsifier and then emulsify it in. And it's not going to be 100% stable, because you're making it that way. And there's other flavors from the allspice. So what I would do is I would maybe steep some allspice under some heat, and then you could try to emulsify some of that oil and let me know how it works. And Devin, I'll get next time to your question on wheat for flatbreads. But if you buy flatbread, you mean that you're making chapati or that kind of flatbread, let me know, because it's very different. That's a very different kind of flour, and we'll deal with it next week's only a couple days away. It's Tuesday. So let us know. Cooking issues.